Mabuhay! I am Jomi Cualquera.
I am Shaina Marie Belmori.
I am Maria Victoria Biton.
I am Kimberly Jane Bagale.
I am Cheska C. Panagiton.
I am Shirley May Demak.
And we are the shareholders of Bread Factory ni Sugar Daddy.
Before we proceed to our main topic, let me give you first what our company is all about.
Our company's name is Bread Factory ni Sugar Daddy.
In our company, we sell a different bread and pastry products such as customized cakes, cupcakes, bread, and minimum.
Because of our company's witty name and our delicious different products that surely you might forget your name, we come up with many customers every day.
At this point, Jomi Cualquera and Shaina Belmori are going to present the first ever transaction of Bread Factory in Sugar Daddy.
The company has started operating its business way back in April 2022. The first transaction was, on April 1, Mr. Sugar invested 350,000 cash on his business. If we journalize this entry, we will have debit cash 350,000 pesos and credit sugar capital 350,000 pesos. April 2 transaction, Mr. Sugar rented a building costing 15,595 pesos. Debit rent expense 15,595 pesos and credit cash 15,595 pesos. On April 3, Mrs. Sugar, wife of Mr. Sugar, bought baking equipment on cash 75,500 pesos. Debit baking equipment 75,500 pesos and credit cash 75,500 pesos. The next day, April 4, the company bought tables, chairs, and glass stante for 11,110 pesos on account. Debit, furnitures and fixtures 11,110 and credit accounts payable 11,110 pesos. April 9 transaction, we have paid wages for the employees for 4,900. Debit, salaries expense 4,900 pesos and credit cash 4,900.
The next day, April 10, purchased additional baking equipment for 15,000 pesos on credit. Debit, baking equipment 15,000 pesos and credit accounts payable 15,000 pesos. On April 11, our loyal customer, Miss Taylor Swift, bought cake and pastries on account for 10,175 pesos. Debit, accounts receivable 10,175 pesos and credit bakery revenue 10,175 pesos. April 12, another loyal customer, Miss Ariana Grande, purchased all bread and pastries on this day for 25,350 pesos on account. Debit, account receivable 25,350 pesos and credit bakery revenue 25,350 pesos. April 13 transaction, received cash payment from Miss Taylor Swift. Debit, cash 10,175 pesos and credit accounts receivable 10,175 pesos. On this transaction, April 14 sold 50 pieces of extra super special cake on loyal customer Miss Cardi B for 48,750 pesos cash. Debit, cash 48,750 pesos while credit is bakery revenue 48,750 pesos. April 15 transaction, received and paid internet and landline bills 1,699 pesos. Our debit is utilities expense 1,699 pesos and credit cash 1,699 pesos. April 16, Miss Ariana Grande brought cash to pay her debt from last April 12 transaction. Debit, cash 25,350 pesos and credit account receivable 25,350 pesos.
Last April 17, Mr. Sugar withdraw cash for personal use 10,000 pesos. Debit, sugar withdrawal 10,000 pesos and credit cash 10,000 pesos. On April 20, Miss Selena Gomez reserved cupcakes and desserts from our company and paid instantly 7,010. Our debit is cash 7,010 pesos and credit Bakery revenue, 7,010. April 21 transaction, Mr. Sugar paid the additional baking equipment transaction from April 10 in full payment. Debit account payable 15,000 pesos and our credit cash 15,000 pesos.
On April 22, paid electric and water bills 13,501 pesos and 27 centavos. Our debit is utilities expense 13,501 pesos and 27 centavos, while our credit is cash 13,501 pesos and 27 centavos. Last April 24, paid the last April 4 transaction on tables and chairs. Debit accounts payable 11,110 pesos and credit cash 11,110 pesos. April 29, that day's revenue was 31,952 pesos. Debit cash 31,952 pesos and credit bakery revenue 31,952 pesos. At this part, let us see the overview document of transactions and the journalized entries. We can see our header, the company's name, title of the accounting cycle, and the date, month the transactions happened. Moving on, Chazga and Panagiton will present our T accounts or the general ledger of Bread Factory ni Sugar Daddy.
In this portion, we are going to present our general ledger for the said month. We have the header, the company's name, general ledger, and the month date of April 2022. All numbers and information presented in this portion are based from our journalized entries. Under assets, we have account titles cash, furnitures and fixtures, equipment, and account receivable. First, we have cash. We must gather all the cash titles, and based from our journalized entries, we must segregate the debit and credit amount. Left side must debit and right side must credit. To get the balance of cash, amounts in debit must add together as well as the amounts in credit. After that, subtract debit and credit total amounts. And we have the balance amount of 325,931 pesos and 73 centavos. Important reminder, we must put the balance amount in a side where it has the greater amount than the other. That is the reason why we put the balance amount to the debit side, because debit side has greater amount than the credit side. And we have to double rule every total balance amount we compute. This method must apply to all account titles. Moving on, we have furnitures and fixtures, baking equipment, and account receivable. Under liabilities, we have account payable. Under owner's equity, we have sugar capital, sugar withdrawal, bakery's revenue, rent expense, utilities expense, and salary expense. And that is our general ledger. Sherlyn Temak will discuss the unadjusted trial balance.
Now, we are at an adjusted trial balance. We must not forget our header, the company's name, unadjusted trial balance, and the month date of April 2022. The columns that the account balances usually line up with normal balances of the account titles. We have our assets and expenses, which are normally debit accounts, that goes on the left column. Cash, furnitures and fixtures, baking equipment, rent expense, utilities expense, salaries expense, including the withdrawal. As we can see from our general ledger, accounts payable and accounts receivable have zero balance, so it isn't necessary to include it here. And so we have the capital of Mr. Sugar and the bakery's revenue that will be placed in the right column because they have normal credit balance. This is used to total debits and total credits and must always match each other. The result both have the total amount of 473,237 pesos. And don't forget to double rule. Kimberly Degale will present the income statement.
For the first line, we have company's name, Bread Factory ni Sugar Daddy, income statement, and the month ended, date of April 30, 2022. Every company is making monthly income statement to determine if the company is gaining profit or loss. Under revenues, we have bakery revenue. And based from our general ledger, we have the total balance amount of 123,237 pesos. Since we don't have other revenues, we continue with our total gross income. So our total gross income is 123,237, and don't forget to double roll the final amount. Next is we have expense, rent, utilities, and salaries expense. Add the expense and we get the total expense of 35,695.27 pesos. Remember, this is expense, so we have to put close parentheses on this amount. This means that we have to deduct the total expense from total gross income. And we have the net profit of 87,541.73 pesos and double rule. For instance, if this has a negative value, it means that you're experiencing loss. So we must change the net profit into net loss. All the numbers and the amount are based from our general ledger. Now, Shaina Marie Balmore will discuss the statement of change and equity.
First, we have our header, company's name, statement of change in equity, and month date of April 2022. At the starting month of April, Mr. Sugar invested his money to his business worth 350,000 capital. Owner's equity April 1, 2022, 350,000 pesos. Next is additional investment, but there is none, so we put zero amount. And then the profit amount based on the income statement, which is 87,541 pesos and 73 centavos. We add owner's equity to the profit with a total of 437,541 pesos and 73 centavos. And the withdrawal of Mr. Sugar amounting 10,000 pesos, which will be subtracted from the total above. In this way, at the end of the month, April 30, 2022, the owner's equity will be now 427,541 pesos and 73 centavos. Maria Victoria Biton will discuss now the balance sheet.
First, our header, company's name, balance sheet, and month ended date of April 30, 2022. The balance sheet contains assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. It's also known as statement of financial position. Under assets, we cash amounting of 325,935.73. Furniture and fixture are 11,110. Baking equipment is 90,500. Add amounts under assets and we have total assets 427,541.73 pesos. Numbers under assets are based from general ledger. Since there are no liabilities, let's leave it blank then proceeds to owner's equity. According from our income statement, we have total owner's equity of 427,541.73 pesos. So, we put sugar capital April 30, 2022 amounting of 427,541.73 pesos. As we can see, assets and total liabilities and owner's equity are both balanced.
We are now done discussing how our company was started and gained more customers and profits every month. I am Shirley Maytamak, Marketing Manager.
We promise to everyone to serve you our best and delicious bread and pastries from wherever you are. I am Shaina Marie Balmari, Head of Finance Department.
Soon to open more branches nationwide. I am Maria Victoria Viton, Head of Operations.
Yes, that's right. We're planning to expand our company not just in the country, but to the world. I am Jomi Colquera, Head of Sales Management.
We are shaping the world of baking industry. I am yours truly, Kimberly King Tagalog, Human Resource Manager.
I am Cheska Ansi Panagiton, and we are the shareholders of Bread Factory Sugar Daddy.